don't do it, you know. Don't bluff. There's no real need unless you're like just making a standard continuation bet against somebody. But you know, past the flop, like on the turn or river, you know, if a tight player calls after the flop, he usually has something that he does not want to get away from. He's not going to fold any good draw to a turn bluff, you know, or any overpair or top pair kind of thing like that. Okay, we got a min raiser. Jeez, I love these spots at this level. I'm gonna bump this up to like 30 cents. I totally expect to get called. I'm not gonna go ape shit on an ace high flop if he calls, but and we got an ace high flop. I'm going to make a continuation bet now of 2/3 the pot and expect to either take it down or get raised all in or get called, but I'm shutting down most of the time. It's unfortunate. Like if there was no king on that flop, I'm glad, or sorry, no ace on that flop, I'm gladly shipping stacks in. I'll be making my over bets because I want to get my stack in easily by the river. He ended up folding on the flop, so we were able to build a pretty large pot there pre-flop with our hand. So we got a lot of value, even though we got no action on the flop. We're kind of glad about that because it was an ace on the flop and we had pocket kings. We got a lot of value. We got 15 big blinds pre-flop, and then the guy ends up folding. Like, what could he have that he wants to call 15 big blind? Sorry, that wasn't. Yeah, that was 15 big blinds. That's a fairly big pre-flop pot. So I'm very happy to be able to raise large amounts because people make a lot of mistakes pre-flop. I mean, not that they don't make a lot of mistakes on the flop, turn, and river at this level, but if you are you know, a beginning player, the easiest thing for you to do is to, you know, get a good pre-flop strategy happening, you know, and just be playing strong cards pre-flop and not make, you know, hardly any mistakes pre-flop. And even when you do make a mistake pre-flop, it'll probably be a marginal one, and usually somebody else in the hand is also making a pretty big mistake, usually a bigger mistake than you're making. So you gotta really be, you know, it's good to abuse that. Somebody min raises under the gun to 4 cents. I don't know what the hell that means. It could be anything, really. It could be aces some of the time. It's a stupid play when you consider how much people like to call, but people do it. It could be, you know, a small pocket pair, a suited connector, whatever. So by raising big pre-flop, we got a lot more value than we otherwise would have if we just re-raise, you know, made a smaller re-raise and then bet that flop because the guy would have folded. But you know, he could have like pocket sevens, or he doesn't care that he's not getting proper odds to set mine. He wants to see if he's going to hit a 7, right? So he's going to call almost anything. He might have called a shove right there. I mean, that is arguably a good play because people will do it. I don't know, like, we got a 17-cent pot, we check to this guy and he shoves all in, right? So we're obviously folding. We don't care if he takes the 17 cents, you know, 8.5 cents of which was his. I mean, that's really bad poker. If that guy was bluffing and I had a hand, you know, I would have stacked him. I wouldn't have been able to win 17 bucks because I don't have that deep a stack, but I would have won 100 big blinds right there if I had a hand that I could call him with. Or, you know, if he's value betting, I guess, you know, it's not a horrible play against the average player at this level, so you can't really blame the guy. You can't really blame people, you know, like, and you can do that sort of thing too, but it's really not necessary, you know, to just shove the flop all in, because usually if somebody's going to call a shove all in, they're probably more willing to call a slight overbet on the flop, so you can get some good value. You know, by making a consistent betting strategy that just facilitates getting all the money in by the river. That's all you need to do. You don't have to get it all in on the flop, you know. But if you have something like pocket aces, you know, against certain players, I see no. I'm gonna call here with this guy. We have position. It's a min raise. We're just gonna be really careful after the flop. We're not gonna get crazy. We're gonna try and play a small pot most of the time unless we hit big, and it's only 4 cents to call. So okay, so he leads for 16 cents. You know, like ace king is a decent part of this guy's range. We have no reads on him other than he seems loose, but we only have like 5 hands on him, so we can't really even draw any conclusions about this guy. All we know though is he's some kind of average 1 cent, 2 cent, no limit player, which is bad. And all our tables are breaking up. Okay, he bets 54 cents. You know what? I'm gonna fold here because it's pretty clear he wants to play for stacks. I called the flop bet mostly so that I could, you know, it was a small investment, mostly so that I could see, you know, what is going to develop on the turn. You know, I reevaluated and I decided, I mean, yeah, I could be folding the best hand to a bluff, but we don't care because at this level we're not really that concerned with snapping off bluffs, and we're not really that concerned with bluffing. You know, we had reasonable odds to call pre-flop because of the times that we hit 2 pair or trips or something like that and stack the guy comfortably without worrying about is our hand good or not, because most of the time when you get your money in, you want to be relatively certain at this level your hand is good, you know. So we could have got it in profitably there, but we would be relatively uncertain that our hand was good, you know. And I think the whole reason for avoiding situations like that for a new player at this level is so that you can just get away from these tilt-inducing situations. I'm gonna raise this one to 8 cents. Queen 10 suited with 1 limper. A lot of situations, like the marginal situations, will induce tilt and variance and stuff like that, and you really don't need it. You could get a graph of a good 1 cent, 2 cent player, and I swear, like the thing will just be like on a 70-degree angle going straight up with hardly any, you know, hardly any. Okay, I get called by 3 players. This is not a spot to c-bet in, even though this flop is dry as hell. I'm just not c-betting here. I get donked into, you know, like what has he got? A flush draw, jack high. I don't know. You can have it though. You know, my whole reason for raising in a lot of those spots is not necessarily to steal a blind with 7-8 suited. It's, you know, you're building a pot like with a pocket pair or with a suited connector. You're building a pot. It's a lot easier to stack somebody in a raised pot than it is in an unraised pot. If you get played back at, you can easily let it go, and you know you lose a minimal amount. We have nothing here. I'm just gonna fold. See, like, okay, so we got pocket threes. Last time we raised, the guy donked into us and we folded. So, you know, let's go again, right? You know, if we miss, we can check fold, but I guarantee you, like, okay, we have top pair, top kicker, the board is paired. I'm going to go pot. I totally intend on stacking off on that flop. If the guy's got a 10, then so be it, but I know that he's going to show up with a weak ace or some kind of draw if he wants to stack off. That's just weird when people doing this min re-raising, min 4-betting pre-flop. You know, we just got into a multi-way pot with a minimal investment and we missed, but you know, if we hit, we were on our way to winning somebody's stack, maybe a couple people stack if we hit our 3 on the flop. We're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tables. I haven't bothered opening up any more. Look at this. We have the 9 high flush. I'm gonna put out 2 cents. Why not? See what happens. You know, just gonna, you know, I have a weak hand and I make a weak bet. See if I can